guys, in today's video we're going to review adding and subtracting fractions. Let's start by this example. 1/12 of the staff who work part-time are males. 5/24 of the staff works part-time at the aquarium. What fraction of the staff is female? The question right here tells me the total fraction of the staff that works part-time at the aquarium is 5/24, which includes males and females. It tells me that the fraction of the males is 1/12. And it's asking me what fraction is the female. Because males and females have to add up to 5/24, if I subtract the number of males from the total, I should get the number of females, or the fraction of the females. To add or subtract fractions, we must have a common denominator. And it's best to find the least common denominator you can find, because then you don't have to simplify as much at the end. If you cannot figure out what denominator to use, a small trick would be to multiply each denominator by 1 through 5.
1 times 24, which is 24. 2 times 24 is 48. 3 times 24 is 72. 4 times 24 is 96. And last but not least, 5 times 24 is 120. I'm going to do the same thing now, but with the 12. 1 times 12 is 12. 2 times 12 is 24. 3 times 12 is 36. 4 times 12 is 48. 5 times 12 is 60.
Now I look for the smallest common number after the equal sign. So right here, the smallest common number I see here 24 and also here 24. If I do not see a common number or a common match between the two tables, I can go past 5 until I find a common match. This match is going to be my new denominator. So now my new denominator is 24 for both fractions. And I ask myself, what did I have to multiply this 24 by to get the match? I multiplied it by 1. So I'm going to multiply the denominator by 1 and also the numerator by 1. Because in any fraction, whatever I multiply the denominator by, I have to multiply the numerator by, so it still stays the same ratio, or an equivalent fraction. I do the same thing on that side. I multiplied here the 12 by 2 to get my match. So I'm going to multiply this 12 by 2, which means I must multiply the numerator by 2. The denominator is already filled in for me. 12 times 2 is 24. 1 times 24 is 24. So all I have to do now is solve for the top. 1 times 5 is 5, and 1 times 2 is 2. Now that I have found the common denominator, I can subtract the fractions. To subtract the fraction, I'll simply subtract the numerators and leave the denominators the same. 5 minus 2 is 3, and 24 stays the same. Now, this is my answer, but it's not the final answer because it's not in the simplest form. Remember, to simplify a fraction, it usually is divisible by 2, 3, or 5. So I asked myself, can I divide the numerator and the denominator by either of those numbers? It could be other numbers as well, but it's best to start by considering those 3 numbers first because they're very common. So right now, I cannot divide the 3 by 2, but I could divide the 3 by 3. I could also divide the 24 by 3, so therefore, I can simplify by dividing 3 and 24 by 3, and that will give me 1/8. So 1/8 of the staff that works part-time at the aquarium are females. Let's look at another problem. This question right here says, the zoo is open to the public 2 times a day, 5/6 hour at noon and 3/4 hour in the afternoon. How much time is the zoo open every day? So in this question, I have to add up the 2 times that the zoo is open to find out the total fraction of hours the zoo is open a day. So I am adding 5/6 plus 3/4. Again, to add or subtract fractions, I must have a common denominator. If I do not know what that common denominator is, we can use the trick we just used. I'll put 1 through 5 under each denominator, and that will multiply 1 through 5 by each denominator.
1 times 6 is 6. 2 times 6 is 12. 3 times 6 is 18. 4 times 6 is 24. 5 times 6 is 30. I'll do the same thing with the other side. 1 times 4 is 4. 2 times 4 is 8. 3 times 4 is 12. 4 times 4 is 16. And 5 times 4 is 20.
Now I look for the lowest match, or the lowest common number after the equal sign. In this case, I see 12 and 12, and I don't see any matches under 12. So that means my new denominator is 12, and I have to see, what did I multiply the 6 by to get the match? I multiplied it by 2, so that means I also multiply the numerator by 2. 5 times 2 is 10. I multiplied the 4 by 3 to get my match, so that means I multiply the 3 by 3 to get the numerator, so that's 9. Now that I have a common denominator, I can add the numerators. 10 plus 9 is 19, and the denominator stays the same. I know that 19 is a prime number. It only could be divided by 19 and 1, and 12 cannot be divided by 19. So therefore, this is the simplest form. If you use the trick I just told you, usually 2, 3, or 5 are good numbers to consider when simplifying a fraction. I cannot divide 19 by 2, I cannot divide 19 by 3, and I cannot divide 19 by 5. So this is my answer. The zoo is open every day for 19 over 12 hours.